The first lie was small. So small I almost didn't notice it. My wife, Maya, kissed me as she headed for the door. The scent of her perfume was spicy, expensive one I didn't recognize lingering in the air. It's going to be another late one, she sighed, adjusting the strap of her laptop bag. This quarter's projections are a nightmare. I nodded, murmuring something sympathetic as I loaded the dishwasher. It was the third late night that week. For 6 years, her job in architecture had been demanding, but this felt different. There was a new tension in her, a brittle energy that hummed just beneath the surface. When she came home, she smelled of that strange perfume and a faint, electric buzz of a world I wasn't part of, the real alarm bell, the one that jolted me from my placid denial, rang a week later. I was driving home when I passed the Gilded Horn, a swanky new cocktail bar that had opened downtown, and I saw her, through the wide, floor-to-ceiling window, bathed in the warm, amber light, was Maya. She was not hunched over architectural drawings. She was laughing, her head thrown back, a crystalline glass in her hand. Across the small table from her sat a man, handsome and sharp in a way that made my worn t-shirt and jeans feel like a costume. He leaned in, his hand briefly touching hers. On the table, the gesture was intimate, proprietary. It lasted only a second, but it burned itself into my brain. I didn't stop. I drove home, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles were white. The house felt cavernous and cold. 2 hours later, she walked in, feigning exhaustion. "Thank God that's over," she said, dropping her bag. "I'm fried. Tough night." I asked, my voice dangerously calm. "The worst, I swear." I was staring at blueprints, until my eyes crossed. The lie was so bald, so effortless, it stole my breath. In that moment, the man I had been the trusting, happy husband died. A new man was born in his place, a detective, a spy, a ghost haunting the ruins of his own life. My first instinct was primal, confrontation, screaming, accusations. But my second, colder and more calculating, took over. I needed to know everything. The what was obvious. The who, how, and how long were gaping, black abyss. I needed a map. That night, after she fell into a deep, untroubled sleep, I picked up her phone. It was locked, of course. But her laptop, left on the kitchen table, was merely asleep. I opened it. Her digital life was meticulously clean. Her emails were professional, her browser history cleared. It was the tidiness of someone hiding a mess. Then I remembered Reddit. Months ago, she'd been scrolling it on the couch and laughed. "It's a cesspool," she'd said, "but it's fascinating." On a whim, I typed reddit.com into the search bar. The site loaded, and in the top right corner, a username was logged in. RKHITEC-of-desire. My blood ran cold. It was a silly, dramatic username, the kind you'd create for a fantasy. I clicked on her profile, my heart pounding a sick rhythm against my ribs, and there it was, her secret life, laid bare in post after post on subreddits I never knew existed. Our adultery, our infidelity, our lusty stories. She hadn't just been having an affair. She had been chronicling it. For hours, I sat in the dark, the glow of the screen, illuminating my face as I fell down the rabbit hole. I was no longer her husband. I was just another reader, a voyeur to my own destruction. The posts were anonymous, but they were unmistakably her. She wrote about M, her lover, a colleague, from a rival firm. She described their first meeting at a conference, the electric spark that made her feel alive for the first time in years. She wrote about me, too. I was the safe choice, the comfortable routine. She described our life together as a beautiful beige painting she desperately wanted to slash with color. She detailed how she lied about working late, the thrill it gave her, the guilt that she savored like a bitter wine. "He's a good man," she wrote in one post that garnered dozens of sympathetic comments. "He doesn't deserve this. But I feel like I'm suffocating in his goodness." his predictability. MC's the woman I want to be. The comments were a chorus of encouragement. You deserve to be happy, one user wrote. Life's too short for beige, wrote another. They were her enablers, a faceless jury that had tried and convicted our marriage without ever hearing my side of the story. The final piece of the puzzle, the one that made me decide to follow her, was her most recent post, made just that afternoon, title, Taking the Next Step. F42, M45 post, things with him have become so intense. We both know this can't stay a secret forever. He wants to leave his wife. He's found a small apartment we could use as our sanctuary until everything is out in the open. He's showing it to me tomorrow night. I'm telling my husband I have to pull an all-nighter at the office. I'm terrified, but I'm more terrified of doing nothing. This feels like my one chance to choose real passion. Tomorrow night. An all-nighter. A sanctuary. The next day passed in a surreal haze. I went to work. I answered emails. I nodded in a meeting. But the real me was a coiled spring of dread and resolve. When Maya kissed me goodbye that evening, repeating her lie about the all-nighter, I felt nothing but a cold, hard certainty. Be safe, I said. My voice a stranger's. I gave her an hour's head start. I had found M's full name and the address of his firm from her laptop. A little more digging gave me a likely location for the sanctuary, a new, sterile-looking condo building in a part of town that was all glass and steel, a place with no history, an anonymous place for an anonymous affair. Following her was the most agonizing act of my life. Every red light felt like an eternity. Every turn she made, I followed at a safe distance, my car a shadow tethered to hers. She didn't drive towards her office. She drove to the glass and steel condo. She parked in the guest garage and disappeared inside. I didn't wait long. A few minutes later, his car, a sleek black sedan I recognized from my vision at the bar, pulled in. He got out and walked into the same building. I sat in the darkness of my car, the engine off, the silent screaming. I didn't need to see anymore. The Reddit posts were the script, and this was the final, soul-crushing scene. I drove home. I opened my laptop and went to her Reddit profile. I took screenshots of everything. Her posts, her comments, the advice from her faceless supporters. I printed every single page, the printer spitting out the evidence of my marriage's secret death, one sheet at a time. When she came home at 3 in the morning, flushed and bright-eyed, she found me sitting at the kitchen table. The printed pages were laid out between us like a funeral shroud. Her smile faltered. The color drained from her face. She looked from my cold, dead eyes to the stack of papers. She saw her username, Architect of Desire, staring up at her. What is this? She whispered, though she already knew. This, I said, my voice cracking with a pain so deep it felt physical. Is your story? The one you were writing while I was making you dinner. The one you were living while I was waiting for you to come home. I didn't shout. I didn't need to. The truth, laid out in black and white, was louder than any scream. We talked until the sun came up, the conversation a hollow, heartbreaking post-mortem of our life together. There were tears and confessions, but the betrayal wasn't the sex or the lies about working late. It was the narrative. She had taken our life, our shared history, and twisted it into a story of her oppression and my inadequacy. She had put our marriage on trial in a public forum and found it wanting, all to justify choosing a fantasy over reality. I never went to the subreddits again. Our story ended there, not with a dramatic public reveal, but with the quiet, devastating finality of a shared life being deleted, one post, one memory at a time. The Architect of Desire had designed her own ruin, and she had to live in it, and I had to learn how to live outside of it.